Shalom Israel. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, all honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Kakadash, double honor to the apostles, knows great millstone, for teaching us his truth, peace, and blessings to hope like Israel and Shalom. Yahweh is the name of the handful in Hebrew, Ba'ashem means the name, and Yahweh Shai is the name of the begotten Son. Back on lesson, and today we're going to go to these uproars, these riots, and these protests that we are seeing that are taking place all over the world, but specifically in the situation that's going on over there in China. As you're about to get in this article, as well, you may see more uproars and riots happening, taking place over here in America. Now, you had an article, them coming out saying that more people that have taken the juice are dying more than the people that didn't take it, man. And we have been warning you, through the Spirit and Prayer of Yahweh Shai, to stay away from it, man. Because you saw a ton of people get a ton of this right here. If you can look at my titles right here, what I'm typing, just to be careful with my words, do extra careful. Because just even touching on this topic will take your whole channel down, man. But it says that juiced people now make up a majority of 19 deaths. And when I see 19, I'm speaking on this word right here. So you're seeing, black people may, uproar and riot because they have been lied to, But let's see on the main track that, that could be another lesson in itself. But it says protests break out at 19 hit iPhone factory in China, which we better play a video just to go into what's happening. But it says, rioting iPhone workers kicked down by China 19 police.
哦，这他妈就是扶上来，跑个
那边他跑来呀，跑追到那儿去了，跑追过来了，要这儿。我可打了，
我操！
And guess what? This is coming to America very, very soon. Because as I mentioned, you already see a ton of people angry over that fact that more people that have taken the juice are dying more than people that didn't take it, man. So they're gonna feel betrayed, feel lied to,
不是搞门口警察打人了啊！穿白衣服的全都是郑州市的人民武警啊！
I mean, look at that. You see how angry they are? But it says, which you just read in the title of the video, but goes to show just how angry the people are in general, man. Now, once again, imagine what's coming over here to America. You had these people, riot and protest for less, man. So imagine what's to come. But let's jump a little bit into this article right here, and we'll jump into another one, and we'll dive into scriptures, keep it short. But it says, rare scenes of open dissent in China marking escalation of unrest at the factory of Zhengzhou city that has come to symbolize a dangerous buildup in frustration with the country's ultra-harsh 19 rules. So it's again, irritated and angry over the restrictions as it, played in the video right there. But as well as an inept handling of the situation by the world's largest contract manufacturer. The trigger for the protest, which began early on Wednesday, appeared to be a plan to delay bonus payments. Many of the demonstrators said on live stream feeds the videos could not be immediately verified by Reuters. Give us our pay, chanted workers who were surrounded by people in full hazmat suits, some carrying batons. According to the footage from one video, other footage showed tear gas being deployed and workers taking down quarantine barriers. It was second others 15 and 17. A man shall desire going to a city should not be able. Going to these harsh restrictions that they're going to apply and implement, declare martial law, because it's ultimately the type of reaction that they want, especially coming to America in order to, be justified when they bring that hammer down, man. order out of chaos. But it's like standpoint. There's some carrying batons, according to footage from one video. Read that. Other videos, or like other footage, showed tear gas being deployed to the workers taking it down. According to Barry, some workers had complained they were forced to share dormitories with colleagues who had tested, I'm going to say P for 19. Just trying to be extra careful. But as Foxconn said in a statement, it had fulfilled its payment and contracts, and that reports of infected staff living on campus with new recruits were untrue. But regarding any violence, the company will continue to communicate with the employees and the government to prevent similar incidents from happening again, the company added. So you're seeing riots, protests taking place with that. And I believe over here in America, you had many layoffs, I believe from Amazon. So a lot of people lost their job over that, It says violent protests erupt at Apple main iPhone plant in China due to red, or played earlier, but it's played real quick. There you go. Read a little bit more into this. I have to register to read this. Let's see if we get anything else. Let's see. Read a little bit into this, and we'll jump to the scriptures. I don't make this a super long lesson, but video shows hundreds of workers rioting at Apple's biggest iPhone marketing plant over China's draconian 19 measures. Isaiah 10:1 warned him that decree unrighteous decrees and that right grievances which they have prescribed. So you see them rioting and protesting over these heavy and terrible restrictions. We pretty much got all we want, all the meat out of it. So let's dive into the scriptures. As Isaiah 19:2 said, I'll set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and you shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. So ultimately going to these riots, these protests, the uproars of the people, especially over here in America, man. How you have America divided, one people fighting amongst each other, especially with these laws that were being put in place, especially when, I forgot the exact law that got put into place, but you see a ton of riots, took place over that. But read one time, and I'll set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. So this is nothing new for China, because, a few months back, you had them get put into lockdowns, man. And that lasted for, a good minute. They had robot dogs patrolling the streets to make sure they weren't leaving, their motels or their houses, to make sure they weren't breaking curfew. They even had a drone with a microphone attached saying to basically keep that, that spirit of freedom in check, Because you had them, beating pots and pans, saying they want free. But let's continue on to the scripture, 2 Ezra 15:15 through 17. Main point, for the sword and the destruction draw nigh, when people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. We're seeing now these uproars of the people in the world, man. More end time signs, and you're seeing so many things happening and taking place all over the world, man. These things that are happening are not coincidences, especially with how many things are, once again taking place and happening, man. Not a coincidence. And once again, there's no such thing as coincidences. Everything that you see playing out and happening, guess what? It's written in the scriptures as you are seeing now. Verse 16, for there should be sedition among men, invading one another. They should not regard their kings nor princes, and of course their actions shall stand in their power. When it says kings and princes, going to the people that are in authority, the people that are in power. These mayors, presidents, and all that. Verse 17, a man shall desire going to a city and should not be able, going to martial law, going back to these lockdowns, and shutting this place down, man. Especially when you start seeing more riots, people bucking up, or they're going to declare these things and be justified, or when you see people breaking windows, fighting against the police. And also you see them creating these robots for a reason also, But let's get 2 Ezra 1-4. I've got a few more scriptures, then we'll close it out. Which I got this in one of my latest lessons too. But it says, he answered me then and said, measure all the time diligently in itself, and thou seest part science patch, which I've told thee before. And how would you measure the times that we're in? By the way of signs and these prophecies. Verse 2. Then shalt thou understand that at the very same time when the highest will begin to visit the world which he made, which can be by the way of our Lord Yahweh Shai. Verse 3. Main point. Therefore when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world. Are we not seeing uproars? Are we not seeing riots? Are we not seeing major earthquakes in diverse places? The Lord is turning things up. As you are seeing, the people are agitated, man. They're more angry. They're more, for lack of a better word, susceptible to, I don't want to say emotion, but just say more, angered spirit, for lack of better words. Getting tired of just the way that things are. As we read in that article, those draconian laws, man. Because I mentioned, China got put into lockdowns, a few months back, and you saw, a ton of people were angry over that, man. Now imagine what's coming over to America. No one took the lockdowns that were put in place well, and you pretty much already saw protests, took place over that. And hopefully what's more to come, especially now that you see the people that were juiced dying more than the people that were unjuiced. So imagine how they feel now, man. And guess what? We have been warning you to do this to stay away from those things, man. But verse 4, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of things from the days that before thee, even from the beginning. Go and show the times that we are in. Let's get Luke, put this up here. Luke 21:25 through 28, because once again, end time signs. These uproars, these riots, these protests are nothing to be taken lightly, man. There's no such thing as coincidences. As we read in 2nd Ezra 15, 15. We're seeing these uproars, man. And there should be signs in the sun and the moon and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations with perplexity. The sea and the waves warning is what we are seeing. Verse 26, men are feeling them for fear, for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. People are going to be shook and they're going to be afraid, especially, as we progress later into these end days, you're going to start seeing more and more chariots start to show themselves, and more things start to happen in general. As you're seeing these plagues, these pests the Lord sending out, and more agitated spirit being pushed onto these people, as they're starting to see more and more people are starting to buck up, man. Especially over here in China, man. Now imagine what's coming over here to America, man. It's going to be even worse, because we're in some very scary and evil and ultimately terrible times, man. As you said, everybody right here, going to these uproars, these sedition among men, which basically goes into division. If I can get it real quick. Sedition. Not translate. Look it up. Let's see. It's an incitement to riot / rebellion, agitation, as it went to earlier, man. You see a more agitated spirit, man. More people are getting sick and tired of the way that things are running. Also, you had a few months back, over here in America, you had a poll basically be, taken up to where people are voting to take up arms to basically overthrow America, man. The government, So these are times that we are heading into, man. And that's why you're going to see these devils, especially, declare martial law, start, bringing that hammer down and start tightening their grip, But let's continue on. Verse 27, and then shall they see the Son of Man, which is Yahweh Shai, coming in a cloud with power and great glory. Verse 28, and when these things begin to come to pass, and look up and lift your heads, for your redemption draw nigh. Once again, going to show that we're nearing the end of the devil's kingdom and that we're almost out of here. 2nd Ezra 15, 11 through 12, which I don't really think I need this, but I think we get it anyway since I got it. But it said, I'll bring them with a mighty hand, and they stretched their arm and smite Egypt with plagues as before. As you know, America spiritually Sodom and Egypt. Excuse me. And smite Egypt with plagues as before, and destroy all the land thereof. Verse 12, Egypt shall mourn, and its foundation shall be smitten with a plague and punishment that the Most High shall bring upon it. So once again, you're seeing a lot of sedition, a lot of uproars of the people. And also it goes to show the times that we're in. But 1 Thessalonians 5:3. Because what you're seeing also, they're pushing that, we see over here in America also, and many locations pushing that everything's going to be fine, that things are going to get better, that we're in a more secure type of state than before. But things are, matter of fact, about to get worse. For when there should say peace and safety, and sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon the womb of a child, and they shall not escape. There is no peace nor safety coming to this place, but death and destruction, man. As you are seeing what's going on all over the world, you see over here in China. As I mentioned earlier, you're seeing articles, and they're coming out saying that the Jewish people that make up the majority of deaths of the 19, you know. So you're going to see a lot of people felt betrayed, felt lied to, you know. When we have been warning you to do this, we're probably out busting my shy for a while now, man, to stay away from that, man. But once again, pretty much the main point of the lesson already. Sorry if I kind of rambled a little bit and went back to certain points I already made. But Lord, when I got the point across and you were edified, you are seeing more uproars, more riots, protests taking place. And, you know, this ultimately a build-up and goes to show what's coming to America, man, very, very soon. Which they make it, you know, put into lockdowns. You're going to have a curfew get put on over here. 2 Ezra 15 and 17. A man shall desire to go to the city, shall not be able. But once again, going to show that we're nearing the end of the devil's kingdom, as you are seeing these major end-time signs. More protests, more riots are taking place. The uproars of the people in the world, ultimately, you know, seeing over what's going on over here in China, and ultimately what's to come to America, man. Because America is going to get hit the hardest of them all, you know. So once again, Lord, when edified, to give all praises and glory to Yahweh Hashem Mashah, by Hashem Kakadash, the apostles, and those great Muslims for teaching us truth, peace, and blessings. The hope like Israel, inshallah. See you next one.